everybody, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Sarah Ann Bale. Today we're making soup. We're gonna make tomato soup. Look at this bounty of rainbow goodness. We're gonna take all of this and simmer it down into yummy, fresh, summery tomato soup. We're gonna prep everything before we start to set it in our pot. The foundation of our soup is Mirepoix. Mirepoix is a classic French foundation of aromatics, and it's onion, carrots, and celery. I'm gonna start with my onions. Makes me emotional. Now we're gonna do our carrots. The trick to carrots is they're not the same exact width from top to bottom, but once we chop everything, we want all of our dices to be about the same size. If they're different sizes, they're gonna cook at different rates in our soup, and we want everything to be evenly cooked. So if you have to do quarters of some parts of your carrot and halves on other parts of your carrot, as long as they're about the same size, that's what you're shooting for. Time for celery. If you're not a huge celery person, you can do more of a fine dice on your celery. It's gonna cook right down. I love celery and I like that texture, so I'm gonna do bigger hunks. This is your mirepoix, that's it. We gotta do garlic. I'm gonna use 4 cloves just because I love garlic. I'm gonna chop off the little heel of each one and then use the back of my knife to give them a smash. That's gonna help the garlic peel off. Mince her up. The base of our soup is a classic mirepoix, and we're also going to take inspiration from the Trinity, which is the foundation for Creole and Cajun cooking, and add some peppers. The Trinity is bell peppers, onion, and celery. We're going to use multiple generations of tomato in here. I have sun-dried tomatoes that have been soaking in olive oil. We're going to use these sun-dried tomatoes in our soup and the sun-dried tomato olive oil to saute everything in. Gonna chop some oregano, stems and all. This is a soup, so all those woody stems are gonna cook down. Now for our star. I'm gonna do a rough chop on our tomatoes. Don't worry, they're gonna cook down, and we're gonna throw everything in the pot, seeds and all.
Tomatoes are a KO for vitamin K1, which we need for strong, healthy bones.
All of our produce is prepped, and that is the secret to any good soup or really any recipe. It's all about preparation. Now we get to start to build our soup. For our foundation, we're gonna use that same sun-dried tomato olive oil that we saved from earlier. Gonna preheat our pan to high. I'm feeling the residual heat from the pan. We want it to be just getting warm, and then we're gonna add our oil. If ever you're testing the temperature of your pan, use the back of your hand. If it's too hot, you'll move in toward yourself instead of into the pan. And she's ready. I'm gonna start with our sun-dried tomato oil. You can see that red color inside of the olive oil. Now that our oil is in there, we're gonna sweat our mirepoix. So we're gonna turn it back down to medium. We don't need to caramelize any of our mirepoix. This is a fresh vegetable soup, so we want all of the veggies to be cooked, but not caramelly. Get all of our mirepoix in there. Now that we have ingredients in the pot, we need to season. You want to season every single layer of your soup. If you season at the end, you're only seasoning that layer of flavor. If we season every layer, you're going to taste every layer that we built in our soup. Good, pinch of salt. The other wonderful thing about making soup is you get to taste and season as you go. I like to use a wooden spoon anytime I'm making a soup. I use that wooden spoon to scrape all those good bits off the bottom, and it's not gonna hurt your pot. We're gonna let our mirepoix sweat down. What that means is we're gonna let all of our veggies gently cook down until they're just translucent. All the sweetness from each veggie is gonna come out, and it's gonna perfume the rest of our soup. Our celery is turning that bright green, and our onions are just starting to be transparent. To our mirepoix, we're gonna add our other aromatic. We're gonna add garlic. Garlic can burn a little quicker than our other aromatics in here, and it's also a finer dice. That's why we're adding it after everything else is already sweated down. We're gonna take that Trinity inspiration, and I have fire roasted peppers in here. The other nice thing about a fire roasted pepper is it's extra, extra sweet. I'm gonna use the sweetness from the roasted peppers in place of a pinch of sugar that you normally put in a tomato soup or a tomato sauce. Once you add roasted red peppers to tomato soup, you can never go back. Sorry, not sorry. Gotta get all of our sun-dried tomatoes in there now. Whoa, scrumptious. I like a little bit of heat. If you're a person that doesn't like spice, you can leave it out, but I'm gonna do a good pinch of crushed red pepper flake. It smells like grandma's house. Get that fresh oregano in there, stems and all. Now that all of our other ingredients are properly introduced and sweated down, quite a dance party, we're gonna add our tomatoes. Just so you know, tomatoes are rich in many antioxidants, including lycopene, which is beneficial to skin health.
Antioxidants!
Everybody in. Fold them on in. It's okay if this looks really chunky now. As this cooks down, these tomatoes are gonna give all of their juice, and it's gonna become this robust, hearty soup. One more good pinch of salt. Now we're gonna cover this and turn it down to low and let it just simmer for 2 hours. Your patience will be rewarded. It's been a couple hours. If you need to add just a little bit of liquid, you can add a little bit of water or stock, but this is pure tomato. At this point, you could blend this up. You could use an immersion blender to make it nice and smooth. You can pop it in a regular blender. I like it chunky because it feels more like a meal. Check for seasoning. It's perfect. If you needed a little bit of salt or just a little bit of sugar, this is the perfect time to add it. This is just right for me. I'm gonna turn my heat off. We're gonna finish our tomato soup with some fresh basil. It's a party. Basil confetti, steamy and joyful. This is get well soup. Final taste. That is Grandma's house in a bite. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week with a new diet-free recipe, and let me know what soups you want to see next.